Every institution, political, religious, educational, depends on one thing: your emotional reactions. The black spot stripped soldiers of those reactions, transforming them into something pure, unfiltered, and uncontrollable. That's why it wasn't discontinued, it was suppressed, because a population trained to think like that would break the world open. They trained soldiers to break bone, to withstand pain, to obey fear, and then bury it. But the most dangerous weapon on any battlefield is not a rifle, not a drone, not even a nuclear code. It's the mind that controls them all. And when that mind becomes too powerful, too still, too detached, too precise, it terrifies even the machine that built it. This is the mental challenge that was removed from the highest level of military mind training, not because it failed, but because it worked too well. They called it the black spot. It was designed to create complete psychological silence, a soldier with no internal resistance, a man who could act without the interference of emotion. And what they discovered changed the way intelligence agencies viewed human potential forever. Every mind is a battlefield. Most never realize it because the war is quiet. It's fought not with bullets, but with doubts. The average person loses before they even begin. They wake up to noise. Noise disguised as thought. Noise disguised as personality. That endless stream of what-ifs. Why me? I can't. I should have. That's not thinking. It's static. And static kills focus faster than fear. In the field, this static is lethal. Hesitation costs lives. Emotion clouds logic. A soldier can't afford to feel. He must function. So the military began studying ways to delete mental noise. Not control it, not replace it, delete it. They trained operators to dissociate from thought itself, to exist without narrative, to reach a mental zero where awareness functions independent of emotion. And from that research, a single exercise emerged, a method so pure, so dangerously effective, that it dismantled the emotional core of whoever mastered it. That exercise was the black spot. It began in 1969, under a classified division focused on cognitive endurance. Their question was simple: what happens when the human brain runs out of thought? They tested meditation, breath control, isolation chambers. None of it was enough. People still clung to fragments of ego, still narrated, still identified, until one researcher, a psychologist named Rains, proposed something radical. Instead of teaching the mind to focus on something, teach it to focus on nothing, a conceptual void. An imagined black spot, infinite, non-reflective, absent of texture, absent of meaning. The subject's only instruction: for 1 hour, think of nothing except the existence of the black spot. Do not visualize it, do not analyze it, become it. There was no sound, no clock, no feedback, just darkness and that single mental directive. What happened inside those 60 minutes was unexplainable by ordinary psychology. Some broke down, some screamed, some fell asleep out of sheer neurological fatigue, but a few, the dangerous few, stayed perfectly still. They crossed the border between observer and thought. They reached the state Rains called cognitive zero. Zero is not peace. Zero is not calm. Zero is erasure. It's the collapse of the narrator inside your head, the one that says, I am doing this. At zero, there's no I. There's only process, action without self. Most people think this sounds spiritual. It's not. It's mechanical. You're not transcending your humanity. You're deleting it temporarily. At zero, you stop reacting. You stop judging. You simply execute. The military loved it. At first, operators under test could perform under extreme stress with zero hesitation. They reacted faster, spoke slower, processed more data per second. They could walk through simulated gunfire as if time had thickened around them. Bullets didn't speed up or slow down. Their perception did. One report described a soldier walking through a live fire corridor with no visible startle response. His pulse stayed under 60. When questioned afterward, he said, I didn't feel like I was there. I was watching someone else move my body. The brass called it neural detachment. The psychologist called it pure cognition. And the soldiers called it the void. But there was a problem. The soldiers who succeeded never came back the same. Their emotional range shrank. They didn't laugh the same. They didn't fear the same. They didn't connect. They became instruments of logic, perfect, precise, lethal. But when the mission ended, they couldn't turn it off. They described the world as flat. Colors dulled. Faces lost meaning. They had burned away the emotional noise permanently. They had achieved what philosophers and monks chase for decades. But without guidance, without ethics, without return, you can't erase the narrator and expect to rebuild him easily. That's why the project was quietly buried. No scandal, no leaks, just classified silence. The official report labeled it psychological over-isolation. Unofficially, they called it creating ghosts inside living bodies. Unlock the power bundle. All ebooks, all audiobooks, and all future releases in one ultimate bundle. Lifetime access, lifetime updates, zero limits. For a limited time, use code POWER50 for 50% off. If you want dark psychology, discipline mastery, mind training, and real transformation, this is where it begins. No fluff, no delay, just pure power. Use code POWER50 before it disappears. Link is in channel bio. Let's be clear. Your emotions are not weaknesses. They are operating systems. Fear keeps you alive. Guilt keeps you moral. Shame keeps you social. But they also keep you manageable. When you remove them, the brain stops filtering. You see reality in raw code. Cause, effect, outcome, consequence. It's clarity without compassion. And that clarity is lethal to control. That's why they removed the black spot. Not because it broke soldiers, but because it created soldiers who couldn't be broken. A man without fear does not obey. A man without attachment cannot be controlled. And a man who sees emotion as static stops playing the game altogether. You are not meant to know how powerful silence can be. You are meant to drown in the noise, to be addicted to thought, to be predictable. But if you silence it long enough, you will see the truth. Most of your personality is programming. Most of your emotion is conditioning. Most of your limits were installed by design. The black spot was never just a test. It was proof that human obedience is built from emotional dependence. Erase the emotion, and the obedience collapses. You want to try it, don't you? Everyone does. Every mind wants to know its true ceiling. But understand this. Once you cross the threshold, you can't unsee what silence reveals. If you still wish to proceed, here's how to simulate the original test, safely. Isolation. No devices, no light, no sound. Sit somewhere you cannot distract yourself. Single concept. Picture the idea of perfect blackness. Not color, not darkness. Absence. Not something that contains nothing, but nothing that contains everything. No thought control. Do not suppress thoughts. Label them and release noise. 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 No timer. Your sense of time must dissolve. The original test ran on internal perception, not clocks. Observation of failure. When your mind drifts, observe what it drifts to. That's your programming. Fear of boredom, fear of meaninglessness, fear of the void. The purpose isn't peace, it's exposure. To see the machinery of your own distraction. If you persist long enough, the voices will fade. And what remains is raw perception. Silent, aware, unattached. That is the edge of zero. Cross it, and you will never again confuse emotion with truth. They erased the challenge because it revealed something terrifying. That silence is stronger than any ideology. When you can control your perception, you control the battlefield, internal and external. Imagine a population trained to detach from emotion. No panic, no outrage, no fear. Every system of control collapses instantly. Governments, religions, corporations, they all depend on emotional reaction. That's why this knowledge was sealed away. Because once you learn to think without emotional interference, you become dangerous. You become unpredictable. You become immune to the standard forms of manipulation. They removed the exercise, but the knowledge escaped. Fragments leaked through psychological manuals, special ops memoirs, even obscure Eastern texts. It's scattered now, but if you know what to look for, you can reconstruct it piece by piece. And when you do, you'll understand what true focus feels like. Not comfort, not calm, but absolute mental sovereignty. Now, forget the military. Forget the archives. This isn't about war anymore. It's about you. Every time you react to a notification, you're losing the same war. Every argument, every emotional spiral is proof that you are not in command. The black spot isn't just a symbol of silence. It's a mirror. When you sit in that void, you see what's truly inside. Your dependencies, your triggers, your mechanical behaviors. And if you can sit through that storm without breaking, you begin to reclaim the mind from its training. That's when real discipline begins. Not routine, not motivation, command. You don't fight impulses. You erase the need to act on them. You don't chase clarity, you become it. That's what the soldiers learned, and that's what scared their superiors. A mind that obeys itself cannot be enslaved. For the next 72 hours, test your obedience. Pick one recurring thought that dominates your mind: a regret, a desire, an anxiety. Every time it appears, label it noise. Don't analyze it. Don't resist it. Just see it and let it dissolve. If you succeed, you'll begin to feel the separation, the gap between you and the voice that pretends to be you. That's your first step toward zero. That's the place the black spot was meant to take you. But remember, once you silence the noise, the world around you starts making less sense. You'll notice how loud people are, how emotional the world is, how desperate everyone is to fill the void you've learned to face. Don't retreat. That discomfort is proof of growth. They removed this challenge from military mind training because it produced individuals too self-directed to follow orders. But you're not a soldier. You're something rarer. You're the one training himself in silence. The mind is not your servant until you've destroyed its noise. Only then can you command it like a weapon. Now answer me. What is the single most persistent, distracting thought in your head right now? Name it. Face it, then live the next 60 seconds without it. If you can do that, you've already started the Black Spot Challenge. Comment below. And remember, you are either mastering your mind or serving it.